So a lot of people have been in the comment section of my most recent video, which discusses whether African Americans are Aboriginal Americans descending from the Australasian Aboriginals or not. That video will be in the description and you can check it out for yourself. A lot of people have been saying, but the out of Africa theory is false. It's a lie. We didn't come from Africa. All life did not start in Africa. It has been debunked. So there's a few things I want to address. The oldest bones in Africa, Pangea, oldest remains in South America, and Israel. Let's start with the out of Africa theory being debunked because of older remains being found in Israel. Firstly, we know that the oldest human or hominid remains were found in Ethiopia of Lucy. However, although Lucy is as close to human as possible, she's also classified as an Australopithecus afarensis, which is over 3 million years old. After that, the most oldest modern human remains were of a 160,000-year-old modern human Homo sapien in a remote region of Ethiopia, which they called Idaltu. So at that point, we have all evidence leading to the oldest remains being found in Africa, regardless of whether it be Lucy or Idaltu. But recently, scientists discovered even older human bones outside of Africa, in Israel. These remains were dated to be 175,000 years old, so older than Idaltu, but not Lucy. But remember, we're talking about modern humans here. We then have the debate of whether Israel is in Africa or not. It's classed as in Asia, although it sits on the African tectonic plate, so more likely should be classed as Northeast Africa, but I'll leave that for y'all to debate over. So does this mean that life did not start in Africa, and instead, it started in Israel? No. This is where some people are getting confused. The out of Africa theory has not been debunked. It has just been revised, based on new evidence. Homo sapiens, modern humans, are still said to have originated in Africa. Originally, scientists believed Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa around 70,000 years ago. But what has now changed is that scientists now believe modern humans started leaving Africa 60,000 years earlier than originally thought. Scientists believe that the remains in Israel are of an African Homo sapien that made an unsuccessful trip out of Africa and died. So when we talk about the out of Africa theory, we have to take into consideration successful as well as unsuccessful migrations. The oldest remains in Israel were an unsuccessful migration out of, you guessed it, Africa. DNA and genetic analysis link all human life to explorers that left Africa. Now, in my video, How the Caucasian Race Was Created, I explained that the out of Africa theory has flaws. That video will also be in the description. The belief that all modern humans are Africans with different features due to climate differences and diet. That's the flaw. Long story short, Denisovans, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens were all from Africa. They all migrated out of Africa at different times. The Caucasian race, however, did not exist yet. It had not been created. Yes, created. It was created by hybridization between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens outside of Africa. But check out that video for more in-depth information. So let's talk about Pangea. I see a lot of people talking about Pangea, saying we're not from Africa. We were already in the Americas because of Pangea. Pangea was known as the supercontinent. You'll have probably seen images of all the continents fitting together before. Pangea broke apart around 200 million years ago. Now we know that the oldest hominids and human ancestors were around maybe 5 to 7 million years ago max. There has not been any hominid remains found that old in the Americas to say that we were in the Americas first before Pangea split. So people were saying to me, but Angel, you've forgotten about Luzia or Lucia, which is a Negroid modern human found in Brazil. She proves the out of Africa theory to be false. Right. Now, I had never heard of any remains in South America being older than remains in Africa or surrounding areas. So I checked this out. Lucia was found in Papa Vermelha, Brazil in 1975. Archaeologists believe Lucia is 11,500 years old. Yes, 11,500 years old. Well, that's not very old at all in the grand scheme of things, especially when we're comparing 166,000 years and 3.2 million years. Lucia is the oldest human remains in South America, but scientists believe she is a direct descendant of one of the first waves of migrations of Australian Aboriginals, which proves my previous video about the Native Americans, which is that humans left Africa, migrated through Asia into Australia, and then 2 waves of migrations into the Americas, one from Northeast Asia and the other from Australasia.
South American archaeologists are finding unusual human remains. The skulls aren't European, But they aren't American Indian either. They belong to none of the prehistoric races known to have set foot in the New World. These skulls are as old as the Ice Age. So who were these first people to discover the Americas? All native peoples in South and North America belong to a racial type known as Mongoloid. They're descended from the ancient peoples of Siberia. During the Ice Age, 12,000 years ago, there was a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. Mongoloid peoples were the first to enter the New World, or so experts thought. The Brazilian finds point to a very different story of the discovery of the Americas. Who were these pioneers? A much earlier wave of Mongoloids, or another race altogether? Archaeologists there have recently unearthed human remains. Prehistoric skulls were found buried in layers of soil 9 to 12,000 years old. They are the oldest skulls in the Americas. And this is the oldest of them all. The skull of a young woman nicknamed Luzia by scientists. Can she tell us who the first Americans were? So who was Luzia? And where did she come from? Luzia belongs to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean. In East Africa, in the islands of South Asia, and in Australia and Melanesia. But how could Luzia be African and Australian? Luzia is a bit of both. The first humans originated in Africa. It's known that around 100,000 years ago, waves of people migrated out of Africa. One such wave went east, and 60,000 years ago, it reached Australia. Luzia, it seems, belonged to a race of humans descended from Africans, a race that eventually became today's Australian Aborigines.
So I don't know where the idea that Luzia is a million years old comes from, or who's been feeding you that misinformation. I don't know where the idea that after Pangea split, that we were all in America, as there's no evidence or remains older than 11,500 years in the Americas, and Pangea split over 200 million years ago. What I do suggest is that people read and continue to read. All evidence states the out of Africa theory is still valid. There'll be 2 videos in the description. Peace, love, and coconut oil.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. We were not brought here to enjoy the constitutional gifts that they speak so beautifully about today. And because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened to some degree and we begin to ask for those things which they say are supposedly for Americans, they look upon us with hostility and unfriendliness. What is it that makes it difficult for the philosophy of nationalism to spread among the so-called Negroes? Number one, they think they have a stake in America. We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America.
Hey man, that's racist. Please remember that from now on, brand new never before seen videos, as well as live streams, will only be available on my website, ikyg.com, via a Patreon subscription. ikyg.com is a Black-owned, Black-ran platform, 100% free from censorship. It's the only place where we don't have to worry about what we say and expressing ourselves. Make sure you check out the description and the comment section for important links, as well as information in video form that shows you what benefits you get when you support the site and join my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe and be notified every time I upload a video. For exclusive content and perks, check out my Patreon. This is where we have private live streams, group chats, live Q&As, live phone calls, and open topics. This is a safe space where you can interact with other like-minded people, make friends, send each other direct private messages, and so much more without any trolls. And yes, you get to use GIFs and images in the live chats. So what are you waiting for? This is a completely independent website, free from censorship. If you'd like to make a donation towards the site so we can continue to put out the truth without fear of being silenced, then please hit that donation button. It's greatly appreciated. Check out the rest of the site for videos, private and public live streams, find out all the tea, and make sure to utilize the Black Money section of the website. Advertise your business absolutely free to people that look like you, free forever. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at angel_IKYG.